A Jewish man in Miami has been charged with 2 counts of attempted murder after firing 17 shots at who he believed were 2 Palestinian men. It happened on Saturday night, but there is an ironic twist to this you'll want to stick around for. But we'll tell you, here's what happened. Mordechai Brafman, age 27, arrested and charged with 2 counts of attempted murder after he shot at the car 17 times with a semi-automatic handgun on Saturday. Times of Israel with the reporting. The victim said he pulled up alongside them, rolled down his window, opened fire as they tried to drive away. Brafman kept firing. After Brafman drove to his home a few minutes away where he was apprehended. You can still see the bullet holes that are in the car in this video posted to Facebook. So this was an assassination attempt, if you will. And according to the arrest sheet, Brafman said that while he was driving his truck, he saw 2 Palestinians and shot and killed both. Well, he was wrong about 2 things. For one, the victims luckily were not killed. One man was shot in the left shoulder. The other's left forearm was grazed by a bullet. Second, they weren't Palestinian. Police said the victims were actually 2 Jewish Israelis visiting the US. The victims, Ari Rabbe and his father, initially thought they were being targeted in an anti-Semitic attack. That wasn't the case. Ironically, the assailant has previously seemed to espouse a very different philosophy. We'll tell you about that. A year ago, he was interviewed by local media after vandalism to a bagel store on Miami Beach that had displayed an Israeli flag. Hebrew media reported at the time Brafman called for more unity and less conflict between people. And now he's facing 15 years in prison. Again, I say, Cenk, this is just where we are, where it's just, I feel like everyone has their own little militia going and they're just doing as they wish and could care less about you or your rights or even getting initial facts right.
Yeah, so I'm furious about this story for a couple of reasons. Number one, political violence is always stupid. Told you. I mean, it doesn't get any dumber than this. Oh, I'm gonna get those Palestinians. Oops, they're not only not Palestinians, they're not only Jewish, they're Israeli. The exact opposite of what you were trying to do. I'm gonna add this example to my list now. I always give you the example of after the 2008 crash, Greeks are furious with austerity, and a bunch of idiots decided they're going to go into a bank and they killed the bank teller. Like an average worker, they didn't get any executives. And besides, you're getting the executives wouldn't have helped either. You don't even know what the point of view of the executives are. Maybe it was someone who was actually trying to help. Oh, right, maybe don't murder people as a way of resolving issues. Secondly, look, in Israel, there's now, in the settlements, I don't know about Israel proper, okay? But there's a feeling of we're above the law. We can kill anyone we like. There's no consequences at all. So the IDF can kill anyone they like. They get a kangaroo court, says 99% of the time that they're innocent, absurd. The settlers can kill anyone they like, always innocent, blah, blah, blah. So, oh, I thought they were Palestinians, so I murdered them or tried to murder them. Kind of a normal thought in Gaza and the West Bank. Well, this is not Gaza or West Bank. This is not occupied territory. This is not a settlement. You don't get to murder anyone you like here in America. And oh, I thought they were Palestinians is not an excuse. That's actually will add to your sentence. That's a hate crime. And look, I've never understood, I've told you guys a million times, I'm conservative legally. And one of the things that means is, I don't understand the difference between attempted murder and murder. Brother, you tried to shoot those 2 poor people in the head and you missed. I'm not gonna reward you missing, life sentence. I think it's an obvious life sentence. If you don't do that, then we're all going to start shooting each other. And go, well, I thought he was an Arab. I thought he was a Jew. I thought he was a Christian. I thought he was this. I thought I had a right to murder people. No, you do not have that right. Life frickin' sentence, not close, okay? Now, the third point is even more important. Stop hating each other. The problem isn't Israel, and it's certainly not Gaza, okay? The problem is the idea of hating one another. Why do we have that mess? Because even though the Israelis and the Palestinians look nearly identical, act nearly identical, are genetically nearly identical, no, that side's called Palestinian and that side's called Israeli or Jewish. And so we have to hate each other. Oh, the Jews, they're the real problem. Attack, attack. By the way, you think that's not happening? In Australia, a bunch of lunatic nurses talking about how they don't treat someone if they're Jewish because of Israel. First of all, don't do that if they're an Israeli citizen. That's what you're trying to prevent is, theoretically, I thought you would try to prevent the deaths in Gaza. How does killing Israelis help that? It doesn't, it's counterproductive, it's immoral, it's the worst thing in the world. Plus, they're not Israelis, they're Jews. Plus, that shouldn't matter. Plus, what are you doing? It's the hatred that's the problem. So if you see this story and what you get out of it is, I can't believe what the Jews are doing, then you missed the whole point of the story. In fact, you got the exact opposite point. Stop hating one another, especially in America. Look, apparently we're not allowed to disagree with the Israeli government and we have to send them all our money, even if we have power over them, we have leverage over them, but we refuse to use it. But even if we were to use it, right, and say, well, then it didn't work. Okay, I get it, because they're a foreign government. They're not us, they're a foreign government. We try to get Turkey or Saudi Arabia or Germany or whatever to do what we want. Sometimes we succeed, sometimes we don't, because they're not us, they're a foreign government. And especially, the terrorists, why don't we get them to do what we want? Because they won't listen to us, they're terrorists, right? So we can scream all we want at those folks, and we should use our leverage, we should use whatever we have to try to get people to do the right thing. But here at home in America, we're not Jews, we're not Muslims, we're not Israelis, we're not Palestinians, we're not Turks, we're not Chinese, we're not any of those things. We're Americans. So if we start shooting each other because the hatred is boiled over, then we lose the country and we lose our identity, we lose who we are. And then you have chaos and not the place that people love.
I feel like we're already there. Right? There's still an opportunity, but when you break it down like that and the stupidity of this hatred, I feel like we're already there.
Yeah, and so one last thing about it. Look, as I look at these poor folks who almost got killed, and it's all the hysteria, right? Both sides have it, and I don't mean hysteria to minimize it, but so in Australia, those nurses, etc., and there's other cases, but that's the most flagrant one, potentially killing people because of their identity, okay? Here we have another guy, so he sees that kind of anti-Semitism and he sees the bagel shop thing, and those are real anti-Semitism. So he gets all riled up and then he wants to shoot someone because he gave into that hatred, right? That he thought there's hatred this way, I'm gonna push back with hatred my way, there's violence or whatever I perceive, I'm gonna push back with violence, right? And then the guys getting shot at are also Jewish, so they think, okay, here we go again with anti-Semitism. So then they get it, and they do videos in the beginning before they realize who was shooting at them. And so now they're riling everybody up, anti-Semitism, anti-Semitism. Make sure you go first, go, don't, that's what I'm asking both sides. Don't shoot first, don't go first. Ask questions first, get to know each other first. And if you say, well, I don't want to get to know Hamas. Well, not every Palestinian is Hamas. Come on, stop thinking in such ridiculous, simplistic ways. It's an excuse for you to be able to kill them. Oh, they're all Hamas. They're all Hamas. That's a way of saying, I don't care that I'm slaughtering Palestinian children. I already have an excuse, right? And then the other side, oh, that's how the Jews are. No, that's the kind of thinking that leads to them going, that's how the Palestinians are. So all of this is maddening, and all it's doing is spiraling us into more and more hatred and violence. You cannot get out of these wars that way. You will not be able to hate Jews enough to get Israel to stop. That's not a thing. That's not how it works. Last thing, Martin Luther King said it. I didn't understand it when I was younger. I understand it now. If I could just get everybody to understand this. He said, hate does not drive out hate. Only love can drive out hate. As long as you hate Jewish people, you're never going to get to peace with them. As long as you hate Palestinians or Muslim people, you're never going to get to peace with them or peace for yourself. The only way you drive out that hatred and to get to peace is by beginning to talk to one another and realize the other side is human. They're not the scary Jews that control everything. They're not the evil, savage terrorists that are trying to kill you and your family. They're other human beings. For God's sake, go in the other direction and try love and peace instead.
Thanks for watching the Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.